All right. Hey, my friends. Welcome back to Real Estate Bites. Today, we're going to talk about the housing crisis, the affordability crisis, the housing shortage. And we're going to talk about some solutions. You know, what prompted this episode and the topic was I recently read an article that was titled Solutions for a Problematic Housing Market or something like that. You'll see it here in a bit. And, you know, I read this article looking for something good. And you know what? It wasn't there. So I reacted to it. And then I've got an idea and I wanted to share it with you guys about it's a solution, a potential solution, could obviously be improved upon. But something I think actually would help the housing affordability, the housing shortage crises, as well as make our country a better place. So stick around and check it out. I am going to jump right into it right now. Here we go. You know, housing affordability has been a subject of conversation, contention, debate here for a few years now. There's a real issue with affordability and housing, whether you're talking about purchasing a home or renting. You know, it's been tough on a lot of people, and so I'm always looking out for news in regards to this topic. I'm specifically looking for things that private and or public entities are doing to try to help alleviate the situation. You know, and I look for these things obviously because I want to be made aware of any potential solutions or opportunities that I could then relay to my teammates, my clients, so that we can help people, right? So recently, as I was browsing the news, I saw this article, which the headline, of course, piqued my interest. Let me share the screen here and take you over to that article. And here we go. All right. So Think Realty, the housing squeeze, solutions for an unaffordable market. Okay, great. Now we're talking, right? Let's help people who are struggling to find housing. Okay. So we get into what we're talking about. And I mean, right off the rip, here's this first sentence is very indicative of the problem that we got. According to the National Association of Home Buyers, 77% of American households cannot afford a median priced home. I mean, that kind of shows you the state of our state, right? The state of our union when it comes to housing. I mean, nearly 80% of American households cannot afford a median priced home. That is an alarming statistic. Okay, so what are some of the solutions that they talk about? Well, government programs and initiatives. So here's where he gets into the nuts and bolts of the solutions that people can search for. The problem is this. The problem is this, Mr. Taylor Miller. And Taylor here, Taylor is a project specialist and marketing coordinator for Owner Builder Advisors, where he helps developers and owners navigate the construction process, blah, blah, blah. He's been in the industry an entire 8 years. And he also manages marketing campaigns, social media, and document generation compilation for both formal and informal application processes. And now, Taylor looks like a nice young man. I'm sure he's bright. I get the feeling that this also manages marketing campaigns, et cetera, is really his primary job. And this consultation stuff might be secondary based upon the content of this article, because here are the solutions. What does he say up top? Solutions for an unaffordable market that he puts across. Okay. Initiatives like federal housing administration loans. That's nothing new, Taylor. These have existed for quite some time. Affordable housing developers are stepping in to bridge the gap. Okay. By creating mixed income developments and affordable rental communities, developers are addressing the shortage of housing for lower income households. Where? These projects rely on federal tax credits and grants. I've done a Real Estate Bites episode on legislation that was proposed back in June of 2023 that still hasn't gotten anywhere on the Congress floor. And yeah, it is all about tax incentives for developers and you know, nonprofits and whatnot. But it creates a largely inefficient process to create housing. And oh yeah, by the way, it was introduced in June of 2023, and here we are in November of 2024, and it's nowhere near passing in Congress. So that tortoise hasn't even gotten off the starting block, okay? Local governments can also play a role by rezoning certain areas to allow for more multifamily housing. Sure, they could. That is definitely something that could be done. But again, this is not a new solution. It is a solution, but nothing new. Rental options. You know, you hear people complaining about the price of rents all over the country. They're going up and up and up right alongside home prices. So how is that a solution anywhere? Now, he talks about rent controls, and I suppose that's solution, you know, but, you know, you talk to anybody who tries doing business, any developer or whatnot in a largely blue city in some of the metropolitan areas around the country, rent controls, yeah, they might help poorer people stay in place for longer, but ultimately what they do is create slums, because when the cost of maintaining and or building multifamily housing increases, but you cannot collect any more revenue because of rent controls, you stop maintaining those properties, right? And eventually what happens is you either need to get subsidies from government, which means taking from other people to create and provide housing that is not in great shape, existing housing. You know, this is not creating new housing. You're simply maintaining existing housing by taking from other people, you know, but look, rent controls create slums. It's not really a secret. The prices of everything have gone up, but rent's got to stay the same. Those properties stop getting maintained. I know they're huge proponents of rent controls. I think anytime government interferes with markets, it creates a bad situation. And rent controls is just another one of those examples of how government interferes with regular markets and it creates a bad situation. In this case, you put a cap on the rents that can be collected and those properties go to shit, okay? More affordable regions, that's a new solution? Come on, Taylor, what are you talking about? Hey, here's a solution to your inability to find affordable housing. Leave your family and friends in area and go to another state that you know nothing about. I mean, yeah, it's a solution, but is that realistic? Honestly, how many people around the country are saying, you know, I can't afford living here in New York City, California, Austin, Texas, DC, wherever they're at, where they've grown up, where all their friends and family, their job is, but I'm just gonna leave and I'm gonna go to the greater Cleveland area because it's more affordable than where I'm at now. Now, I've known lots of people, don't get me wrong, I've sold probably a couple dozen houses to people who have relocated from those high cost areas back to Cleveland, but that's the difference. They have family here. They grew up here. Their families are from this area. And so, and also they can couple that with remote work. And now that is something that can have a good impact. But again, you know, so they move from that high cost area back to a Cleveland area where they have friends and family. That's not a very good solution for most people. Okay. And that's what Taylor has to bring. Okay. Either, you know, look for programs that already exist and your real estate agent is already aware of and everybody knows exists. So that's not a solution. Go rent. I mean, that was always a solution, and renting is not much cheaper, if at all cheaper, than buying a house, or move your family to an area where it costs less to live. Not great solutions. How about this? I got an idea. And any politician, feel free to run with this wherever you're at. But like, why can't government take some of the money they steal from us all the time and put it into a community in this way? Let's take a local example here. Let's say the city of East Cleveland. I don't know if any of you folks have driven through the city of East Cleveland recently, but it's not in good shape. It is there's a lot of dilapidated homes. There's a lot of blight in the city. And, so why not take some of the monies stolen from us by government and city, state, federal, they could partner up together. They could take some of that money. They could hire, I don't know, a local construction management company or something like a Habitat for Humanities to put together a plan to build new housing. So first you'd have to wipe the area clean. Lots of homes in East Cleveland and like communities throughout the country that are boarded up, condemned, raise those houses to the ground. And then once you've cleared areas, then you can put together, you can pay one of these, an NGO and a nonprofit like Habitat or a construction management company is probably the best idea, especially if you want tight controls on your finances, to put together a plan where they could build new houses in new communities. However, the major stipulation of the plan is that your labor force has to come from the community. Okay. So you're hiring locals, you're training locals. And yes, this would be expensive. It would be definitely more expensive than the regular way of building a house. But again, we're using the money that the government has already stolen from us to fund an operation like this. So your construction management team, regardless of their makeup, is in a strictly supervisory role. They are hiring local people to be on their crews to build new houses, okay? Maybe also build a community center, okay? And so you build this new housing stock using local labor. And in the meantime, not only are you refreshing the housing stock, not only are you improving neighborhoods and home values in these neighborhoods, but the one thing that public housing fails to do just about anywhere, that something like this would accomplish, is you're teaching these folks a new skill set that's going to have value forever, because people always need a place to live. People always need maintenance on those places to live. So you're going to be teaching these folks a skill set that can then be employed elsewhere once these projects are done, right? And you should teach not only just the construction, you're talking about carpentry, tile setting, everything that goes into the construction of a home, but you should hire people to keep books and to keep records, all of the administrative tasks as well. You should hire locals to perform those duties. The reason why I like a construction management company to do it, because they need to run it as if it were their operation. So if you bring on people who are not performing or who are bringing a toxic presence to the job site, whether it's because they don't want to be there and they're looking for handouts, or if they're, you don't want to hire drug addicts, whatever. But, I can tell you in these communities, I've worked in them in my past job, plenty of great people who could use that specific type of work, a brand new skill set. So when the project is over, they can take those skills elsewhere and earn income with them. Now, meantime, a part of this plan, you should either hire and or use this new labor force to build a community center where classes could be held that talk about business planning and business development, finances, financial education, accounting, all these things, so that these people learning this new skill set may be able to take these classes, and when they're done, put together a crew that could go and fix houses now, or build houses, or whatever it might be, or be a crew that could sub out to larger companies to do specific jobs. Okay, go compete in the workforce. Give these folks new skills and the knowledge of how to go out in the workforce and compete and win. All right. So another thought there is, once the housing stock is built, they shouldn't be given away. They should be offered for sale. There are a lot of people in these communities who own their own homes, who own multiple homes in the community, who work very, very hard. They have the means to leave. They have the means to go wherever they want. They've decided to stay in their community. Okay. because they love their neighbors. They love their neighbors. They want to see their community get better. And so they've stayed. People, anybody in the community should have an opportunity to buy one of these new houses, right? And so you have people who are already there, who are living there, who have an opportunity to purchase one of these newly built homes. They don't have to do anything with their home. If they want to keep it as a rental, they're more than welcome to, whatever, right? For them and anybody else, the Federal Housing Administration could underwrite low interest loans. Maybe there's some sort of an agreement between the municipality, state, and federal where they can forgive property taxes for, say, the first 5 years, and the state and the feds could subsidize that community with those property taxes. Again, we're talking about all the money that they've stolen from us anyways, right? We got hundreds of billions of dollars to send all over the world for whatever. We're not talking about hundreds of billions of dollars here, maybe hundreds of millions, but that's a fraction of what we send all over the place. And between state monies and federal monies, this kind of program could happen all over the place. So you're building a new housing stock and you're teaching the people in the community a brand new set of skills that they can then join the workforce and compete for income. How about an idea like that? Like I said, this one's free, guys. Any of you community leaders or politicians out there, you're allowed to steal that idea, make it better, take it to whomever you need to, and go make your community better. So there you have it. That was my rant about housing solutions. Let's move on to this past week's real estate statistics. So let me share the screen here. All right. Okay, this past week here, episode 69, the current inventory on the market this morning was 454 single family and condominiums. There were 64 closings the past week. The median square foot of the houses sold this past week was 1,502. Median value of homes sold last week was $212,300. The median square foot value, $162.63. So I took a look at this before I came on to record this. Over here, so Q3 2024, the average median square foot value, so every week that I was recorded every Friday, was $160.82. So after 2 months of keeping these stats, so we're looking at 8 weeks of keeping these stats after, calculating the average median square foot value for Q3 2024, the current average is $160.15. So we have seen in the past couple months stability in pricing. It is not moving anywhere. So we've talked a lot about supply and demand and what that means for housing prices. Are we seeing that shrinking demand starting to have an effect? It seems, well, it is definitely having an effect. It's keeping housing prices flat. They're not moving. Are we going to see it trend up or down anytime soon over the next quarter? We'll have to wait and see, right? Median days on market last week was 21. This morning, 6.92% for a 30-year conventional note. And the big sale of the week last week was in Columbia Station at $725,000. Let's go and take a look at this beauty. All right. Here you see this 3-bed, 3.5 bath, 4,600 square feet. That again includes part of the finished basement. Shouldn't necessarily be in that statistic. However, 4,647 finished square feet. We'll take a look at this guy. I like to, there are some different finishes in here that I really like, especially the use of color. I like showing some of these beautiful homes. I know everyone likes to look at a well-done home and maybe get inspiration for how they may or may not want to do something at their own. So it's another good reason to scroll through these pics here. I love a chair rail. It's such a simple add-on, so subtle and so simple, but man, when you break up that color, it really makes the room pop. It's really nice. Love the way they've wrapped these columns here on either side of the fireplace. It's a beautiful feature right there. And then going into the kitchen, I really like the way they've done the kitchen as well. You have this natural wood cabinet here. It combines both a rustic as well as a modern feel. I really like the way they've done that too. I like the way that they've used the stone from the fireplace, right? Same stone to wrap around the hood. That's pretty sharp too. And I like the way it ties in both rooms. So beautiful home here, 7 1/4 in Columbia Station, sits on 2 acres. Very, very nice. Lots of space, of course, as you would expect with a home this cost. Big, beautiful patio outside. And of course, a nice, big, gorgeous master bath and closet area. And that's it. That's all we're going to look at here. So I hope your Thanksgiving was beautiful. Thank you guys for joining me again. And as always, take care of yourselves. Take care of one another. I love you, people.